Hey everyone, it's Nick here. I probably won't have this in the final time lapse, but I'll record it just in case. But um, I wanted to record basically me walking through my old stuff and watching the whole time lapse. It's a little bit long, so I don't think I'm gonna watch the whole thing. I'll scrub through it to kind of see the processes. I've already I've already broken down the RPs for the most part. Um, if you see, it should be on the screen right now. I'll just put it up post edit. But as you can see, it's there's a lot that I could improve on. The first thing I just noted was my anatomy. I was really struggling. Let me do this. I'm gonna connect my pad and actually take notes. Give me 1 second. All right, I am back. And I have it all set up here for notes, so that's good. You might hear a vacuum in the back or a plane fly by, because I'm just unlucky that way. But instead of worrying about that, I'll just keep going. You guys should be able to hear me clearly despite that. And we can go ahead and jump into this. Before I break down this particular piece, I just wanted to note that you can see the red line at the bottom, meaning this is captured straight from the time lapse. I couldn't find a copy of it for some reason. I think it's in one of my laptops, but I would have to go find it, which would take a while. But we're not really... The quality wasn't that good anyways, so... Hopefully this will be a good breakdown. But first, I want to kind of take a look at the video. The time lapse that I did to kind of see some of the processes that I used, and then maybe get some insight on what I should do with this piece. From the very beginning of this time lapse, I can see that some of my line work was decent, but it needed a lot of work. I could just feel the jagged edges from here, to be honest with you. Oh boy, but let's see. Let's play it. I don't remember this app. What is this? This is paint.net. Oh, one of the first ones I used, I bet. Oh, this was a scan. I can see it. That's why the jagged... Okay. So back then I used to draw on paper, scan it, and then use the line art that I drew for coloring. I think I employed that method because at the time I didn't have a tablet. I am doing this on tablet, by the way. The old time lapse. This was on my my laptop. And what is going on here? Don't know what that was, but anyway, I didn't have enough knowledge with the scanning, or the scanner that I had, so I didn't really know how to fine-tune it to get some crisp line art. But well, that didn't matter at the time. So I did the base. I would just fill tool it and then fill out the little crevices later for my base color. At least I understood base color. Let's skip through this. Yeah, back then I didn't know how to really conceptualize eyes, so I would just cut them out of the skin tone. It was weird how I conceptualized things back then. I enjoyed drawing clothes. And just using other lines to imply certain places, like I did with the chest here. I implied the bottom of the breast area with a bunch of lines that just follow the breast line. Everything was so basic. So right now I guess I'm just polishing up the base color, which is something I still do even now. After I do the base color, I kind of go over it to make sure that I've covered everything but it's more rough. Interesting. This is a technique that I used to shade a while ago, which I don't use anymore. But I say interesting because I'm actually using some anatomical shapes that I thought I learned after this. Huh. I used to be a line artist. Not meaning that I only did line art, but I used to do my art pieces based off of lines. They were heavily dependent on lines. Until I broke free from that, all my art pieces were just so heavily dependent on that line art. So I had to get perfect line art before I could move forward, and if not, I'd be stuck. It wasn't shape oriented, which is how I paint now. I paint using basic giant shapes, and then break them down into smaller shapes to get the details. It's not so much based on the line art. I still use lines to kind of sketch and know what I'm going to be doing with my piece, but the painting part is not dependent on them. I don't even think I do an extra layer for line art anymore. I think I just sketch and doodle and then paint on that sketch and doodle. But it's really good to see that I had an idea of shapes and how influential they can be in an art piece as early as this. That's a plus for me. I also noticed that my shadowing is paying attention to the light source, even though the light source isn't there. I think this is when I first started thinking about light source earlier on in the process. Because these shapes that I'm drawing, they're towards the left of the body, or the left of the body part, insinuating that there's a light source coming from the left side, the right side, which of course would be the lightning that she's wielding on her hand. I'm gonna skip through this a little bit. I like this character. I even had actual lips instead of just a line. I understood depth as well. As long as shape language, I understood some depth when it came to the face, where the nose is. I implied the nose and implied the brow ridge area. So that's really good. Turn down the opacity on that black. I also shaded with black. That's another thing. Back then I didn't really understand color value as much as I do now. As soon as I started reading and listening to people talking, about color language and color value and color theory, before I did that research, I was just shading with black. After that, I hated shading with black completely. Every time I wanted to shade something or any color, I would never use black. I would use a different variant of hue of that same color, or a super dark version of that one. Which, to say, yes, that is what I was supposed to be doing. But then really in art, there isn't a supposed to. But yeah, I basically stopped doing that because I realized how much life I bring into a piece while using different hues for shading. Controversy Twins is actually shaded with hue variations. It's never shaded with just black. But then now it's interesting because now I actually use black while shading some things. So I went from loving shading with black, but to hating shading with black, to now understanding that sometimes, depending on the art piece you're doing, you might need to shade with black. So that's been my journey with color theory so far. I'm adding some lighting. That's good. Not really a lighting. It's more of a reflection line. And they're so bland. That's like the basic brush. Oh yeah, another thing about me back then was I used to just rip backgrounds and effects off of off of Google and just paste it on my stuff. Which, I mean, I guess I was compensating for the lack of knowledge at the time. But yeah, it's just so cringeworthy right now. There's a couple of issues with anatomy, but I think I'll highlight those while taking notes, because it's kind of hard for me to highlight and show those. My internet's being iffy. And let me see if I missed something. I think that's it. I just added some, I pasted this, and not much else other than the shading, lighting, and dragging some effects on top. Overall, it's a nice piece. I had to add some effects too at the end of the time lapse, but I think that's enough of that. That's enough of the time lapse. Let's take a look at this thing from the perspective that I'm on right now. Overall, I still think it was a nice piece to do at the time. I'm glad I did it, because now I'm here critiquing it. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Alright, I'm gonna move my mic a little bit down. Then I'm gonna confirm that I'm recording. Yes, I am. Then I'm gonna confirm that I'm actually getting audio. I hope I was getting audio. So a couple of things I wanted to point out with this is the anatomy. The anatomy was a little bit concerning, but it wasn't. It was not bad as I thought it would be, because you have the basic shape right there for the head, right? I'll use a. Can I use red? Yeah, red seems fine. Should be able to see it, but yeah, you should see like some of the proper head structures are included in this piece. What am I drawing on? Okay, cool. Let's do that. Take that down a bit. And you can see some of the head shapes that I still use now are still relevant. So that wasn't too bad. The neck was alright. Some issues with the shoulder piece, because the shoulders being there would then, there would be a structure right here to show the muscle that connects it in. They're too far out, so those should be pushed in, because look at this. They're just too far out from the body. I think I'm going to reduce those. I'm going to reduce that size. I had some really basic shapes. It's not bad. Like, this is the bicep area into the elbow, and then it went out. I understood how it looked, not really how it worked. So that was okay. I had some pretty good, decent knowledge of this. As you can see, the wrist areas there. Maybe I would add a bump right there, because you can see those no wrist to bump. But then again, that could just be my aesthetic. I had a pretty interesting hand shape, or hand design here. It looked like she was clenching it, which sort of looks like an attack. That little arc right there kind of worked really nice to show that, but she's not really attacking. Neither does she look like she's in a, I mean, I can kind of see her walking, bringing like a hurricane of lightning behind her with confidence and stuff. But I think I want to challenge that posture, because this posture is just straight on. Everything is just straight, linear. There's no perspective on this. This is just like a one perspective piece, except maybe for here, where you can kind of see the dimension of the hand. But then again, there's no depth here. it kind of just goes from the arm straight up. It's like this is a flat plane right here. Especially with the shading, how the shading goes. Technically, if I was gonna shade this right, I would pull the shadow back here a little bit, and then if it was gonna show a drop, I would tighten it close to the edge and then poke it out to show that this part is either bending towards the screen or away. But with this one, it should probably point it away. So I like the hand shape I did there, but the hand's a little bit too small too. So applying some of the concepts that I've learned right now, especially, I think I'm gonna give her a hand that kind of, let's change the perspective on that. Yeah, something, I mean, I could have drawn it that way, but I wanna see how it transforms. And then maybe instead of grabbing the lightning, I'm gonna have her, I'll tilt the hand a little bit, give it variety, some dynamic. So this is the front of the palm, and then we'll have maybe, we'll have it maybe go like that. So yeah, we'll do something with the hand. Maybe have the hand's gonna be open, and then maybe have some of this. This is gonna bend that way. That's a super rough sketch, by the way. This is, and then I can have like a thumb or something. I don't know. I'll work something with this. Maybe open the hand altogether. But I really want to emphasize on the depth of this hand. So maybe here I'll add like I'll have it go down like that. Something like that. And then she's gonna wield it. Maybe I'll open it up a little bit more. For the hair, I wasn't really good at drawing hair. It was just a blob of black. So for the hair, I'll wiggle it a little bit different. I do a lot of, I think my favorite hairstyle to draw is the is the jagged edge one, or that version. If you look at a lot of my stuff, you'll notice that I'm just a fan of, like, I'm a fan of this, okay? I can't help it. But I'm gonna challenge that a little bit. With her, I think I'm gonna go with a little bit, let's do it right here. I'm gonna give it a little bit more flow. In artistic language or character language, there's 3 basic shapes. You can read up on it, but there's 3 basic shapes that have been tested. This is actual fact. It's proven to affect your readers or your audience in different types of ways. Just like colors affect people different types of ways subconsciously, you might not even be aware of these things happening to you, but it works. That's why creators and producers, directors, etc., go through great lengths to make sure that the color correction, value, quality, everything about a film is perfect, right? So just like there is some psychological aspects to how colors affect your mental state or how you perceive things, same thing to do with boxes. But again, I'm not going to get too deep into that. There's plenty of people that have done videos on that. But to this one, it would make sense to have a jagged edge hair because we're talking about lightning. Lightning, by default, is something that's so... I know that's not the best lightning I can ever draw, but just pretend this is lightning. I'm not trying right now, okay? Stop. So lightning is something that's really scratchy and really like zap, like it has that aspect of pointiness, that aspect of stabbiness. They're pointed, they're cut, they just look really lethal and dangerous. So it makes sense to have hair like that, to kind of show the jaggedness of the lightning. But I think we're kind of overfeeding that with this piece, because you see it everywhere. I mean, even the kind of the pointiness of the fingers, how fingers are not even rounded up. Of course, the hair. Of course, the lightning. Some of these cut edges that you see in the shadows is kind of giving that effect. The outfit itself, you see. So this piece is heavily on the triangular side. The only rounded things here is the breasts, the shoulders. Guess you can say that's rounded in that. So it's, you know, I would let me see other. If I were to rate this, I would say this is 80%. 80% triangle. Box would be maybe 5%. And then 15 round. Did I do that math right? I did that math right. If I were to kind of split this, mouth is a mixture of round and triangle, mostly triangles and circles. Matter of fact, I think I could do. It's not 80. It's more of 70 and then 25, maybe even more rounded than that. In any case, it doesn't matter. We're talking about hair. I think I'm gonna give the hair a little bit waviness to it. I haven't done a lot of I haven't done a lot of stuff with wavy hair, but I'm gonna give it like some kind of weird, interesting texture. I'm gonna give it a weird, interesting shape. Let me do this in green. I'm also not gonna use black. This is not working. Why is this not working? Let's use orange. I think orange will stand out kind of. We'll take down the opacity maybe a little bit more to kind of show. Okay, so I'll kind of give the hair like a little nice wavy. It's not gonna have any sharp parts. I don't want to give it any sharp parts, except maybe at the end where the tail goes like that. But this is gonna be her head. This looks horrible, don't judge me. It's gonna flow like that. And then the deep shadow areas are gonna be huge. And maybe that'll be in the light. This whole thing can be shadow. And it's gonna contrast with everything else. I'll definitely have something poking out like that. Yeah, I'll do something with the hair that's really curved and dynamic. I think it will give it a good contrast, because then we're gonna up our percentages on the circle. I'm not really worried about square shapes. I think I'm gonna pull it more towards the circle and the triangle, because with art pieces you don't want to do too much of something. And that's why I'm kind of trying to balance the circle and the triangle, is because these two work really well put together. Well, any can work well put together, but you just shouldn't have a lot of stuff clogging your things, because then you're not going to have the best of what you're putting out. It's going to be really janky, and at least that's my opinion. With the eyes, I think I'm going to keep the same eyes. I'll keep the same everything. Even the posture, believe it or not, I will keep the same posture. But since the eyes are too squared, I'll round them up a little bit. Just a little bit. Let me give her some eyelashes or something. But I will keep the same style of everything. Eyebrows. Eyebrows, to be honest, I'm just going to do base color to the eyebrows, because I'm not trying to put too much detail on her. Her face, I'll give her a more dynamic face. I'll pronounce her jawline with the posture that I choose to do. That's one of my goals. For her nose, I'll give her a proper rounded nose here, so I can play a little bit more with the lining and shading. And you know what? F it, we'll give her some freckles at least. We will change her mouth shape. I want to give her a smaller but perkier mouth. So maybe do something with. So maybe do something with the shape. I might do something with this shape. Yeah, I'll do something with this. This seems like a nice little shape. Because then it pulls back from this being such a square-esque, you know, square-esque shape into something that's more jagged and has the shapes we were talking about, which is the circle right here, and then the pointy edge right here. So I'll do that to that. I already figured out what I'm gonna do with the hand. I might keep this hand as it is. Because, yeah, I don't want to change the posture too much, you know. So I will move this hand, actually. I'll move it to maybe... If she's holding it like this, what would she be doing with the other hand? I don't want her to hold another ball of lightning. That's too much. So I think I'll just rest it. I'll rest it somewhere. If it's by the side of her body, it's not going to imply a lot or anything. I'll do a balance implication. I'll pull it back. I'll do a balance implication and do something with her hand here. But yes, I will. Her abdominals, I'll keep her abdominals the same. Not too detailed or whatever. Ooh, that A was so generic. Jeez. I'm gonna have to change that, buddy. I'll use a bolder font. Actually, I think I'll do a little bit of square here. Just a teeny bit, just to show contrast. I'll do a shape like that. That looks like an upside down magnet. Maybe not. Oh, you know, we can fix that. We can fix that with just one shape. There we go. No, that looks like a letter A. Not right now, but you'll see. I'll add more dimensions as well. Since this thing is too linear, like I said, I'll add more dimensions to this and maybe comb this part out a little bit right there. Maybe add another loop. I'll add another belt loop. This is another thing that will fall under the square territory. And then one that goes like that. I'll add a belt loop. Maybe some holes for detail. This will be made out of something shiny. I might even just do straight up chrome so you could reflect everything. The background is gonna be the same as you can. I don't know if you guys can see the background that I already had on it, but whoops, wrong slider. But in this background, as you can see, there was sand at the bottom. Kind of. I didn't really show the sand, but I kind of showed the lighting to the sand. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do a lot of ambient stuff. I can't wait. There's gonna be a lot of ambient lighting with this one. There's gonna be let me do this. Okay. There's gonna be there's gonna be this light. Let me go back to blue. There's gonna be this light that's gonna affect everything here, including the eyes. There's gonna be the sky ambient, right, which is most common, obviously. There's gonna be the little shock, you know, the little shock pieces. I'm gonna add shock pieces around her. I'm gonna place them specifically around her to where I want the light to affect. So this small one right here will bounce light off of her, you know, pants. This one will bounce off her breast. There'll be lighting on her collar. I'll make that out of leather or something. And then her eyes, probably the most prominent parts. The hair will be lit from the top by ambient and will be lit from the bottom by the sand. And everything else will be lit from the bottom by the sand. So I'm excited about this. I can't wait. I'm actually going to start right now. So, alright, with that knowledge, let's start. All Alrighty, let's get some warm up done. I like doing spirals for warm ups. This whole video I'll fast forward through some bits and pieces of the processes so that I don't have a really long video, but unless you guys are into that, then I can just start live streaming. But yeah, I don't think a lot of people right now want to see that. Perfect spiral, never gonna achieve that, but all right, I'm gonna start on the process and let's go. I don't like this mouth. Maybe we can... we could do something about that. Let's see. The angle I picked, or at least for the head, is gonna be like a little slightly down. It's 3/4, but not really. It's kind of angled down. But her eyes are going to be really sharp and focused up, so that's what I'm looking for. So let's see how good I can make this. So that wasn't bad. I like how that looks. Maybe it's because she doesn't have eyebrows yet, but I don't know, something looks off with those eyes. Let me just add the hair and see what happens after. Okay, yeah, it was the eyebrows. Okay, good to know. How am I gonna do this? I think I wanna go... I think I will do this. I'll have an angled... I'll have the head at a really high perspective. And I'll have the body as well at a really high perspective, and I think I'll drop it. No, the body will be at linear perspective, and then the bottom will drop. I don't know, let me see. I'd have a challenge. I was thinking about just having one hand go off to the right, but then it would look off with the perspective of the rest of the hand, so I'll just do what I had planned. That seems like the best path. And for the other hand, I think this should look fine. I'll have it like semi-closed. Okay, so I currently now have the sketch. The hands, kind of, the right, her right hand kind of looked like she was doing the middle finger. I don't know if you guys caught that, so I kind of changed that at the, I changed that a bit so that she would have two fingers and it wouldn't look as inappropriate. So far I'm happy with the sketch. The sketch looks perfectly fine. I think the only thing I can see with this sketch is her left hand. It looks kind of weird the way that little poke, or where the poke is at, it should be a little bit higher. But I'm not too worried about that. I'll deal with that post paint, or during painting, post sketch. But I really like how this came out. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun messing with the details of that belt. And painting chrome, because I've done chrome before, but I haven't really done in a really reflectory, is that a term, environment, to where I can get to play with the chrome really well. So I'm excited about that. This should be a good practice for me. But I like it. I really like it. I don't know if you guys do, but I do. So let's see where this goes. I'm gonna start painting it now. So let's start. First thing I'm gonna do is I'll use line art. F it. I'll use line art. Let's use this, and I'm gonna filter it down. I'm gonna mess with this for a little bit actually, and I think I'm gonna go with that. I think that's, yep, right there. It's not as dark as I would usually go with it, but it's fine. A lot of the stuff is gonna be in light anyway, so I think this color will do. So let me go ahead and start painting. I'll do a blue for the background first, and I'll go into the skin tones real quick. So I'll probably fast forward this part as well. So for this base color, I'm gonna go with the sand. That's gonna be at the bottom, even though you're not really gonna see it, or you might in the background. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna use that color and make it turn it a little bit more red, so we can get a nice base color that's not too saturated, and not too saturated, not too light, and not too dark. It's just whatever. Technically, you can do anything with base colors. You can even start with blue, which is a sun sky color, but I'm going to start with this color specifically because once I start adding that lighting, it's going to look so nice. So let's do that. Alright, so I'm pretty sure I don't need progress updates every single time, but I'll continue adding the base colors, and I'll catch you right at the end. I'll fast forward through this part. So I've added the base color now, and all I'm doing is just cleaning up I'm cleaning up the in-betweens. Like I said earlier, it's still something that I do on the regular. Because whenever I'm adding base color, I'm not really thinking about the edges. I don't want to think about that at the time. I just want to think about how these base colors are gonna work with each other, and thinking about the future steps of this process. So I don't really think about edges and I missed a spot while doing base color. I want base color to be as free and stress-free as possible. So I do the rest of this, the cleanup work after. Oh, all right. Now it's time for this little stubborn hand. So I was thinking about doing something interesting with the hand this time. I kind of didn't want just a basic hand wielding lightning. I wanted to add more effects to that, and on top of the lighting effects, I feel like I have an opportunity with this hand. So I'm gonna try and give it a see-through look. I'm gonna try and really, what's the name of this? There's a term for when light passes through your body. I forgot what it's called. It's whatever. I'll probably remember once I'm done recording. But I'm gonna give that effect to where you're gonna be able to see the light or the energy through her hand. That's why I'm doing these really janky red, kind of warm colors to kind of get that effect. But let me play around with this for a bit and see how it looks. If I don't like how it looks, which I probably won't, I'm gonna continue with the rest of the process and then kind of come back to it and see what I could use from the environment or something to kind of push that effect. Ooh, and I got the perfect thing. Okay, I completely forgot about it. But when you're seeing through things, and dang, I was gonna explain it in the worst way possible. But when you see through human stuff, which I don't think you see a lot, but if you've seen movies that have that effect, I can't think of a movie right off the top. But when you're seeing through the hand, one of the things that really sells that is what's inside the hand. You know, if it's human, then it's gonna be bone. So I'm gonna try just doing some really dark, very abstract dark lines and see if I can push that effect. Let's see how this looks. I'm still not liking this hand. It doesn't look like it's glowing. So I think my background is too bright. I think that's one part of the issue. But I'm planning on downscaling the background as well to kind of simulate exposure in a camera. So that background is actually really light. That's actually the base of the background. It's not really the actual background. And I think it's messing with my perception of this hand. But for some reason, the hand being darker than the sky makes it seems as if it's not glowing, or it just makes it look like an injured arm, right, like just pigmentation, injured or burn or something. It doesn't really look like see-through. So in any case, just trust the process. So I'm gonna try adding some light here. Let's see. That light is fine, but then it's selling out. Damn, that's tough. It's then selling out the rest of the hand, and it looks weird. Something that emanates a lot of light will not have a sharp edge, and I think that's my dilemma right now. Is eliminating that sharp edge on the hand. I don't want to blur the whole hand out either. I want it to be in focus. Okay, I'm gonna keep going and see where this goes. Let me just keep going. Trust the process. Alright, so let's now see how this looks. I just darkened the background because like I said earlier, I thought that was the issue, and it seems to be it, kind of. I might still go darker with that background, to be honest. But it's starting to look okay, and I think the thing that's gonna fix my issue with those sharp edge fingers is the emanating light from them. I'm gonna stack that on top of the lightning light to kind of make it really bright around her hands to where you can't distinguish the hand shape. I will still keep the hand shape because I think it's somewhat of a testament to my style, so I'll leave it like that. But I'll make it super bright. Like I'll make the hand really bright, and on top of that I'll add some different values of the blood colors inside, but I think it's looking pretty okay now. So let me add some other elements and see where it takes us. I'm gonna add a foreground element. I'm gonna add a foreground element to kind of give it a dynamic look. I'll add something. Oh, where should I add it though? I don't want to add it to the right side because then It looks like she's looking at someone on the right side, so I'll do it on the left. I don't know what to do. Something random, something not even indistinguishable. Maybe I'll just do a pile of bricks, pile of sand bricks, and maybe a pole. Let me see. Yeah, a pole going up. That should be it. That should be good enough. And then it's gonna be super out of focus anyway. It's just there to give it depth. Alright, time for some of the add-ons. I'm gonna do the little neck leather chain, not chain, but God, I literally cannot think. What do you call those things you put on necks? I know bracelet is arm. I don't know what you put around your neck. Not neck. Whatever, it's a necklace. I give up. But it's something, we'll just do something simple since it's going to be behind the light anyway, it doesn't need much detail. Ooh, I'll give it a sharp line, kind of glossy, to kind of show that the edge is kind of somewhat shiny. Speaking of glossy, I should actually do some of the lipstick right now. Let's put something on those lips. I'll do something pale. I'll do a contrast to the original. The original was like just super straight red. But with this one, I'll give it the red just to acknowledge that the original had lipstick. But I'll do a little twist on it and give it a pale. What do you call it? What do you call these? Nudes, I guess. I'm not really good with lipstick color, but yeah, the nude color. And then something simple shading, and then some high sharp lights should do the trick. Just like that. Yep. Alright, so it's looking really good so far. I think I'm gonna add some final touches to that hand. I think the hand looks okay. I'm gonna wash it with some blood color though. I think I was scared to add some blood color to it, thinking that it would lose its value, but I think that's the only thing I can do at this point to kind of justify how you can see the form of her hand through all that light. It's gonna come out not as direct light from her hand, but rather ambient. However, the lightning is gonna be direct. That's why the lightning is hitting everything really hard, but you're only getting ambient or some soft light from the glowing hand, showing that it's not really a giant light source, but rather the lightning is what's the giant life. I was about to say life force, light source. So I'll do that. And my favorite part, I saved this for last. Actually, I lied because I need to do those lashes. Christ, those lashes just look bare minimum. Eyebrows are fine. I'm not even gonna put too much emphasis on those, but I definitely need some light bouncing off of those eyelashes. But let me just put some blush on the nose. And the cheek. And the elbow a little bit. And then time for some nice freckles. I made this brush a little bit ago for the freckles. Just because freckles, I need to do another brush, but the freckles brush is one of my favorites because it didn't take much to make, especially with Krita. Krita is really great with brush making that way. There we go, we have some freckles on there. And a little light right at the eye there. Alright, I'm gonna add a little bit more details on the hair. And then I'm gonna shade, not shade, but I'm gonna light those eyelashes up a little bit. Not a little bit actually, a lot. Because they're getting a lot of light. And right now, it's kind of looking bland. So I'll work on that. And I'll fast forward through the rest of the process and come right back at the end to kind of do a review. Righty. So I think it turned out pretty okay. It's pretty great. I'm actually in love with it. I think it's I think it's right now the best piece that I have out, which is just a testament to the growth journey that I'm on. I love the way it came out gruffy. It came out like just a blotch of ideas put together. It's not sharp, it's not crisp, but then again, that's just my style and how I look at things. I think I like it. The little paintbrush seams you can see on her hand, I think is an effect that I was not prepared for. But I like it. I really like how it looks that way. It makes it look more of a painting than anything. I like the way her lips turned out. It's so simple and casual, but it really bounces right with everything else. The dynamic pose I gave her, I think, was awesome. It looks like she's like in an attack mode or really focused and concentrated. The ambient light, it was so much fun to mess around with because you can go to town with this. Her eyes are so simple. I love simple eyes, especially the way they stand out through everything. Whether you're looking at the picture from far away or close, I feel like the lighting on the eyes turned out great. I'm proud of this. I didn't have too much lines on this, but I still incorporated some lines just for style purposes. But it turned out alright. I really like it. I really enjoy it. It looks it looks like a step in the right direction, at least when it comes to my art. So I might do a lot more of these. I don't know, but if you guys want me to do a lot more of these repainting all art, I will do it. I might start a series on it, but I don't know. But if you stayed on this video for this long, thank you very much. You are insane for staying, but thank you very much. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend and an amazing week coming up. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video, as well as follow me on social media. I'm trying to gain a decent amount of followers so I can at least I can show my stuff to a lot more people. So definitely share if you want, and I'll catch you guys on my next time-lapse video, or I don't know what it's gonna be, but we'll see, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just drawing and making videos. But bye-bye.